From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
Mr. and Mrs. America, I am Keith Allen and proudly welcoming you to For the People for this Thursday, February the 9th, 2017. And I almost feel a little bad today because of the big winter storm that's wreaking havoc on the East Coast, where I just looked at the temperature outdoors here in Tampa, Florida. You got to feel bad for us because we're in the thick of things down here in Tampa, Florida, where it's 77 degrees. So you feel pretty bad for me. Listen, I do have a story to tell you in just a second, but I'll let you know what's going on with that winter storm, which they're calling the biggest storm to hit the Northeast. And this winter, it pushed its way up the Philadelphia to Boston corridor with a potential for more than a foot of snow in places today. Slippery morning for commuters, giving millions of people weather whiplash, as the AP is calling it, the day after temperatures. And this was the bizarre thing for New Yorkers. Temperatures were soaring into the 50s and then into the 60s. And then this. So big, huge temperature change. And then the nor'easter that kind of clashed together, creating all of this snow. And the National Weather Service said that the Boston area and eastern Maine could get up to 12 to 18 inches up there of snow. And a blizzard warning was issued for New York's Long Island. New York City could see 8 to 12 inches, and the Philadelphia area 4 to 8 inches. And forecasters have warned of high winds, coastal flooding, and all the usual stuff with power outages surrounding that. This is a pretty nasty storm. We're doing our best to stay on top of it. This is Connecticut Governor Daniel Malloy. And governors throughout the region urge people to stay off the roads, keep them clear of plows and emergency vehicles. And by mid-morning, Connecticut State Police responded to about, say, 30 accidents there. In New Jersey Emergency Management, their office recorded about 50, but no serious injuries. Good thing reported there. So basically, they're saying bundled up commuters in New York City, carefully navigated snow-covered sidewalks, blowing snow, and trying to just cope with the situation there as good New Yorkers they are. And I don't miss it. I used to, I got my start in radio in New York City and worked there for several years, and in New Jersey, and I can remember some really tough winters where I got frostbite, in my fingers, both of them, well, all my hands. I kind of got frostbite out of it. You want to hear the story? All right. You do want to hear a story? All right, I'll tell you a story real briefly here because we have a lot to cover. By the way, coming up on the bottom of the hour, we do have a guest today. Carl Jarvis is going to join us from, I believe, Houston, Texas, and that's his home. He's the author of The United States of Dysfunction, and we're going to check in with him. The guy's brilliant, loves the Constitution, is a very well-known speaker, and again, he says today's American politics is seething with discontent. Carl Jarvis is the voice of reason against foes that threaten our constitutional order. So we're going to talk about Washington now. Jeff Sessions being sworn in today. That was the big news in Washington. If you did not watch it, here's some audio from that.
I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation. Without any mental reservation. Or purpose of evasion. And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
of the office upon which I am about to enter. So help me God.
So help me God.
And President Trump slamming Senator Blumenthal for Gorsuch claims about the federal judge comments. All I got to say about that is Donald Trump has the right to say what he wants to say as president. It's not going to be politically correct. He didn't run his campaign as being politically correct. And we have activist judges, and we don't want activist judges on the benches when there's conflict of interest and when you are doing things like not enforcing the law from illegal immigrants in our country. And the big conversation now, besides all the 4 or 5 executive orders that were signed off today, immigration, the big one, we're going to be talking about that today because it is something to talk about. And federal funding being withdrawn from these cities, the Trump organization, now it's the Trump White House, the Trump administration. Wow, we've been covering Donald Trump from the very beginning, from the Trump Tower before he announced it. We were talking about it. But Jeff Sessions taking over as U.S. Attorney General. That's a notable distinction, as you know, among Donald Trump's appointees. And he's one of those key cabinet positions who hasn't at this moment publicly disgraced or skirmished with the president. Unlike Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, who defended the value of NATO, or Defense Secretary James Mattis, who disputed the effectiveness of torture sessions, who won Senate confirmation Wednesday evening, is kindred spirit with the president on law enforcement. But these people are going to have minds of their own. Trump has even said that about a lot of his cabinet members. He wants them to be able to speak. They're not always going to agree 100% about things that Donald Trump says or doesn't say, and that's going to be something that's going to be usual. But Trump's going to stick to his guns, and this immigration thing is fueling the flames all across the country. You hear about the one Mexican going to be deported because, again, there's stuff that are amiss on her record. And it is sad that we do have to enforce the law. I know. Isn't that sad? Imagine. We need to crack down. Obama didn't do a good job. And if anybody wants to get angry about that, why don't you blame the Obama administration for being lackluster of doing that? I mean, what's the point of having laws? What's the point of passing them? Getting them passed, going through the process of that, and not doing anything about it. We have to enforce it. And that's what they're doing right now. And, of course, people are they're not digging it too much. But now the information's coming out about the order and why they're doing it, and now they're coming back with a list for their critics. And this list has 24 examples of refugees and other immigrants from places like Somalia, Sudan, Iraq, Iran, Yemen, Syria, and Libya. And these folks have been arrested, these bad apples, on terror-related charges, and apparently most of them have been convicted, not all of them. And then those 7, mostly Muslim countries, were singled out in Trump's executive order, which suspended immigration for 90 days from those nations. And, of course, the mainstream media is not going to say 90 days, suspended just for 90 days. And that way we can have a better vetting process to make it safe for all of us, every one of us. But no, they have to just say that it's act as if it's a permanent, it's a temporary thing, and only be able to tighten the screws. That's it. So, folks, don't buy in to the hype. If you're an immigrant and you're listening, or if you're a minority that you're listening and you're offended by Donald Trump from the hoopla and the stuff that you've heard, and you're listening to the station, you're like, gosh, what am I drinking? Folks, I can tell you that I've lived in some of the major cities in the United States, and I know about legal immigration. And I know about people hiding in the shadows. That's not very American. I'm sorry, it's just not. That lady who held up that sign a couple weeks ago saying illegal and undocumented and unafraid. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's not an American citizen. And those that are undocumented are not American citizens. Clear as day. If you don't get that and don't understand, you're not a citizen until you become a citizen. There's a swearing-in ceremony. You're not. So being illegal is not a badge of honor, but it is a badge of honor for these sanctuary cities, these mayors that allow this to happen, this screaming, bleeding heart liberals that allow it to happen. And now they care about the people. We care about all people here at For the People, not surprisingly. But when you have crime and you have folks that take advantage of the system and leech off us, it's not fun, and we're tired of it. We've done so much for so many that a lot of people are just plainly forgotten about because there's just not enough money to go around. There's only so much to go around. It's not being mean. It's just realizing that you have to take care of your own, putting America first and foremost. Americans, no matter what your religion, no matter what your color of skin. There's only so much at the end of the day that we can do. And a lot of people are suffering and not getting services because of illegals. And it's a strain on the system immensely. Immensely. Billions of dollars that go out for undocumented folks that live in the shadows. Remember Obama saying, we're going to let them out of the shadows. We're going to give an opportunity to be able to do amnesty and all that. Well, whatever happened to that? That was a lie. We wouldn't have half the issues right now if that would actually happen, but it didn't happen, did it? But nobody's talking about that anymore. Yeah, remember that? He encouraged people, come out, we're going to get you documented, we're going to get you legal and all other stuff. We're going to give you the amnesty. And, well, that didn't work out so well, did it? Well, anyways, the White House, this document itself names 10 individuals from Somalia, 6 from Iraq, 1 from Yemen, 2 from Sudan, and 2 from Iran, 2 from Libya, and 1 from Syria. And the cases spun the last 8 years and include most recently a case in June in which 2 Somalian refugees were jailed for conspiring to commit murder in Syria on behalf of ISIS. And now this week, another thwarted ISIS attack here in the United States. An unprecedented attack that was imminent. It was staved off. ISIS, correct. And they just actually launched some stuff at Israel today. Some missiles. ISIS. And then we have Al Qaeda, which a lot of people don't talk about, is actually growing exponentially like crazy. The intelligence that's given to the president, he knows what the terror alerts are. It's not propagated through the media to scare people, but, there are ongoing investigations. There's investigations. There's stuff that's going down in fluid situations right now all over this country where we have operatives in our country planning, plotting right as we speak. This stuff is very real, and we have to have a vetting process. And, yes, suspend the money from these sanctuary cities that harbor these bad people. Bad people. There's too many of them. And people that take advantage of our system, and they do it illegally. They need to do it in the right fashion, the right way, where most people did. It's a shame. We're going to have this Australian on. I was just on. He's got a book out talking about immigration and how he waited for a couple years, did it the right way, got his green card, and he's documented. He's not living in the shadows. He's making a good amount of money. He's got a great business going for him, and he's living the American dream. He's an Australian accent, but he's just as American as I'm American. But that's the way you do it. It's amazing where there's people that come out in California. They're talking about loved ones that, I have loved ones that are undocumented, so half of my family would be kicked out of the United States. You don't hear them trying to work towards getting documented or trying to go through the process of doing it. They're not doing it the right way. There is a right way to go about the process. A right way.